What's going on, YouTube? This is the A&J Experience. Now, I just finished watching Newtopia. Now, this K-drama was high on my list for most anticipated K-dramas of the year. For those who don't know, this K-drama is about a guy, he's serving in the military, and he has a girlfriend. Now, for whatever reason, him and his girlfriend decides to break up. Now, once that happens, the zombie apocalypse ensues. So, the whole duration of the show is basically them trying to make it back to one another because they are in separate locations. So a whole lot of chaos happens in between that time. So I'm going to give you some insights of what I liked and what I disliked about the show, and if you should give it some time to watch this show. Now let's get straight into it. Now let's just start off with what I disliked about the show. This show does have elements of a romance in it, right? But the two main leads don't really share that much screen time together. A lot of their interactions you get a glimpse of in flashbacks. Now, the two main leads are Lee Jae-young and Kang Young-jo. Now, like I said previously, you get to see them a lot in flashback scenes. Now, me personally, I don't really see how Kang Young-jo is so much into Lee Jae-young. Like I said, in these flashbacks, you kind of see them, you know, in school, in college, because there are college students, and both of them are in some type of engineering class. So you kind of see that little dynamic, and then also too, they also get a job together at this little ice cream shop. So you see like small little interactions, but to me, it doesn't really justify, you know, how much they care for one another, because like I said, I didn't really see that much chemistry between the two. Again, there wasn't too much romantic scenes with them, you know, not like your typical K-dramas of like a Queen of Tears or a Lovely Runner. You know, you don't get those vibes at all. Like, I mean, do they get one kiss scene? Maybe, if my memory serves me right. I gotta probably go back and look at that, but I don't think they even kissed in the show. And, you know, like I said, this has elements of a romance. But also what I disliked about the show is a lot of these characters, you know, they know about zombies, as in like, it seems as if they're very, very familiar with what a zombie is. You know, they know all the traits of a zombie, but at times they kind of act a little bit clueless. So they knew what zombies were. You know, they also kind of knew how to kill a zombie, because sometime in the show, one of the characters was like, you know, shoot him in the head. But again, leading up to, you know, when a lot of these characters started to realize that zombies were being a thing, again, they acted very clueless. You know, they keep asking them, hey, are you okay? And then clearly the guy's not okay. You know, the person that's infected. You know what I mean? They're making weird noises. They're being super aggressive. They're attacking them. And yet, a lot of these characters, at least at the beginning of the show, they kind of act a little bit clueless. But then, when they talk amongst themselves, you know, they're saying the things like, oh man, I think they're a zombie. So I was kind of a little bit lost by that. You know, it kind of threw me off a bit at times. You know, I'm just, you know, nitpicking here. Now, something else that I disliked about it is pretty small, but the male lead, Lee Jae-young, he pretty much was stuck in one location throughout majority of this show. Like, he literally was in one location, which is this building. It's like a tall building. It has a restaurant at the top, and their military base is at the very top of this building. They literally was stuck in this building majority of the show. When, you know, when it's on him, the show kind of drags a little bit, and then when it's focused on her, I feel like the show is like really picking up. The show is really moving along. The pacing is really great when it comes to her. But with him, I feel as if it drags a bit. And then I guess, you know, I could lead into what I liked about the show, and I guess I will go with Kang Young-jo. You basically get a better grasp of what's going on in the zombie apocalypse through her lenses. You know, with that character, you follow her through everything. She's all over the city. A lot of stuff is happening. She goes to a subway station, a police station, a construction site, a bridge. I mean, she is literally everywhere. And I feel as if you really get a good glance of what's really going on. Like, I mean, through her character, like I touched on before, she's really good in engineering, because in college, you know, she pursued a degree in engineering. So in ways, you kind of see elements of her engineering skills come into play to help her out, you know, to defend herself against zombies. Now, also, I feel as if her character isn't really one-dimensional. You know, besides the, you know, the fact that I feel as if her chemistry with Lee Jae-young isn't really all that great, she's not a one-dimensional character, because there's also other aspects of her going on, as in her mental state. And throughout the series, you just kind of get a glimpse of things that's happening to her, you know, her mentally. I don't know if it's maybe PTSD from, you know, her dealing with these zombies and what's going on, because this is a crazy situation. You know, again, these characters, one day they're living a normal life, and then the next day, boom, infected people running around, attacking people, getting aggressive. And other people is also acting crazy, because you know how it is. It's survival of the fittest. But I feel as if her character really does a really good job, as in the fact of just showcasing what's going on, you know, with the zombie apocalypse. But like I said, what I like, man, is her character. She really does, I feel as if, the heavy lifting of the show. Also, you know, what else I like about the show? The show is actually pretty funny. It does a really good job of adding a new twist to the zombie genre. Like, at this point, you guys know we have seen so many different zombie iterations, whether that's a show or a movie. But I feel as if this show does a really good job of the humor aspect of the show. You know, the show is very over the top at times. So honestly, don't take this show too seriously, because again, it's intended to be funny. A lot of the kills happen in funny ways pertaining to the zombies. A lot of situations that these characters get into is actually kind of funny. And even like the soldiers. So with Lee Jae-young, like I said, he's a soldier. So most of these soldiers, they go through day by day of the same routines. You know how you're practicing, you're preparing just in case if an emergency happens. But once this emergency actually happens, you really get a glance and you really see that these guys really don't know what they're doing. And that's kind of the comedy aspect of it, because again, they don't know how to really take down a zombie. They don't know what else to do. They don't know what commands to follow. It's just a lot of pressure on a lot of these soldiers on what they need to do. And then there's other characters that join them that are way more capable than the soldiers. So, like I said, the whole comedy aspect of the show is very fun. But overall, the show was a very fun watch. It was a good time. Like I said, there's some moments where it dragged. It felt a little stale, but it does feel very different because, like I said, the comedy aspect of the show, and it's a zombie show, so it is a lot of gore and guts at times with this show. But overall, if I had to rate this show, I'll give it probably a 6.5 out of 10. It's 8 episodes, so it's a very easy binge. Would I recommend this show for others? Yeah, I would. Like I said, it's a solid watch. But again, if you like what we talked about, please subscribe to the channel. There's going to be plenty more content to come. Like and subscribe, and I'm going to holler at you guys.